Hello viewers, BMW have the M range, Audi have the RS and Mercedes have the AMG. These are the sportiest cars that these manufacturers have to offer. Hyundai have something called the N range, and in India we get the N line. You join us with the new Hyundai Creta N Line, their flagship in this range, and here is everything you need to know about it. Hyundai have achieved the right balance because they have some specific elements around the car that set it apart from the standard Creta. We start with the front end. This is specific to the N line and it is followed by 18-inch wheels all around the car with nice sporty red calipers in them. The car also gets this red accent all around, and in case you missed it, there are badges all over the car to remind you that this is the flagship N line model in the country. One of the highlights of the N line styling is definitely the dual tip exhaust. And here's how it sounds. That's not very loud. The i20N, I remember, used to have a louder, raspier, more distinct noise. This one is relatively quieter in comparison, but still better than the standard car. It was only a couple of months ago that I was in the cabin of the new Creta, the standard Creta, and this cabin feels very familiar. There's a lot of room, I am not uncomfortable at all, and Hyundai have selected very good quality materials throughout the dashboard, steering wheel, and wherever you touch the car in general. It feels solidly built and good to touch, a very premium cabin. But is it N-line enough? It is, thanks to a liberal yet tasteful use of red accents throughout the cabin. And you also get a 3-spoke steering wheel, which is a godsend because I do not like the 2-spoke units at all. And that 3-spoke steering wheel gets the N badge, as does the gear selection. The seats are leather and ventilated, and they have this nice red stitching. And if you come all the way here, you'll notice that just like the standard Creta, this also has a massive integrated touchscreen, which combines the infotainment part and the driver's console. The enthusiastic driver is not going to be back here, but let's say there is a more enthusiastic driver, then the first one will probably have to come here, and it's not a bad place to be. It is comfortable. Once again, I have lots of legroom in spite of being a very tall person. There are these nice neck pillows for comfort and a panoramic sunroof. Sound system is taken care of by a Bose unit, and Bose, as always, is quite excellent to listen to. And on top of that, if you want to feel like a celebrity, you also have these sun blinds. So altogether, the second row is extremely practical. If you're looking at the N line, then you want performance. But if you're looking at the Creta, then you need practicality as well. And the good news is that there is a lot of room in here, same as a standard car. And under here, you have a 17-inch steel spare wheel. The latest version of the Creta got a 1.5-litre turbo petrol engine, and the N line is offered with just that engine. It makes 160 horsepower and 253 Newton meters of torque. But the good news is, the standard Creta is available with a 7-speed DCT, which is also there in this car, but the N line exclusively gets a 6-speed manual. Tasty. Before I tell you how the new Creta N line drives, it is imperative to tell you exactly what has been done with the suspension and brakes. The brakes are the same, disc brakes all around with the whole suite of electronic safety systems, but the suspension, Hyundai claim, has been tweaked slightly to be stiffer and, as a result, sportier. But the most important change is definitely the larger 18-inch wheel, which runs a thinner profile tire.
Today we're driving the new N-Line, Creta N-Line. The car feels slightly on the stiffer side compared to the standard Creta. It's more suspension setup is on the firm side. And the second thing that makes it a little firmer and stiffer is the 18-inch 55 profile tires.
How does it respond when you drive? Is it enjoyable?
Yes, and definitely more fun to drive factor comes in. The steering has been weighed up a little more, so feels more positive.
So this car has the same turbo petrol engine that we saw in the Creta that was launched earlier, and there are no mechanical changes to that. Same 160 horsepower. So with the changes in the wheel and the suspension, how much of a difference do you think the new N line is?
Performance-wise, I don't think there's much of a difference, but the fun factor goes in because of the stiffer ride and handling, because of the more positive steering. CT gearbox also is nice, it shifts quite quickly, and you have the paddle shifters to add to the fun factor of driving.
So this particular car, although in the standard Creta it's not available, the N Line gets the 6-speed manual as well.
Yeah.
And I know you haven't driven the manual just yet, but based on your current experience, do you think you'd settle for this DCT, or will you have a look at the manual also?
I'd love to see the manual, but in today's traffic conditions and the way the traffic goes, I think the DCT would make more sense, because in bumper to bumper traffic, when you have to keep pressing the clutch, the manual does become a pain. But it is also fun to drive when you're out on the open road.
Ladies and gentlemen, boss just told you how much of an improvement this car is over a standard model. But having driven it on the highway, I'm a believer as well. Hyundai claimed that they have tweaked the suspension, made it a little stiffer, and that seems to be the case, because on the highway, the car is remarkably stable. There's good feedback coming in from the steering wheel, which kept me confident at all times. And the suspension kept the car steady on the road, hugging it like a sports car should. And just to clarify, despite it having the larger 18-inch wheel and thinner profile tires than the standard car, it does not ride too badly. It's actually quite good, because it's not sports car level stiff and hence uncomfortable, but it is stiffer than the standard car, making it definitely more sporty. And if I had to put my money down on between the standard turbo petrol or the N Line is what I'm picking. Our drive in the Creta N Line today has been exciting and thrilling. It is definitely a more sporty choice when compared to the standard car. And in terms of price, ex-showroom introductory, this car starts at rupees 16.82 lakh, but that is for the N8 variant. This here is the top of the line N10 variant, and the primary difference is that this gets a full suite of ADAS. The manual car starts at 19.34 lakh, while the automatic is at 20.29 lakh ex-showroom. What do you think about the pricing? Let us know in the comments. As for what we think about this car, it is an excellent option for somebody who wants the practicality of the regular Creta, but a sporty drive to enhance their daily commute. And in that regard, I think this car fits the bill. You cannot go wrong with it. I hope we've told you everything you need to know. This is Joshua Varghese signing off for Car India.